De style holding, où le canot est à mi-longé. Flip the switch.
Smulot. It's halbedone.
In the year 2028, one Big Mac will equal $1 million. From the Gospel of John McAfee. Bro, just learn to code. The Project Freedom Podcast.
Boom, and welcome to the Project Freedom Podcast, episode number 24. I have a special friend tonight, a special gift for everyone in here, and a special friend who happens to be a fellow shadowy supercoder. Tonight, I got Ryan from Elevate Cyber, guys. Ryan, excuse me. Guys, first of all, I apologize for being late on the stream. I got a new setup going and having some technical difficulties. But Ryan here is a quote-unquote shadowy supercoder, so saith Elizabeth Warren. Ryan, why don't you just give everybody like a couple minute breakdown of like who you are, what you do, and yeah.
Hey, I'm Ryan. I have a channel called Elevate Cyber. So for a living, I do cybersecurity on the offensive side, so pen testing. Basically trying to break in. I work for a government as a contractor. Basically, I try to like break into government websites and things like that. That way I can tell them, hey, here's how I got in. Here's what needs to be fixed. And so on the side, I also, am into Bitcoin, cryptocurrency as well. And I've been kind of branching out and learning about the security side of that as well. And I have a YouTube channel, like I said, where I basically teach people pen testing and cybersecurity and things like that.
Yeah, your YouTube channel is pretty awesome, by the way. Like it's you're one of the most consistent dudes out there when it comes to pushing out like good quality videos that aren't like really long. And you've been doing it for how long now? 2 years?
1 year of consistent daily content. A little over a year now. I started in like June or July of last year. I've had my channel longer than that, but I would come out with a video every once in a while. But as far as the daily content, yeah, that was about 13 months ago or so. Yeah.
I don't remember. When did I go on your channel, man? That was like
it's earlier this year. I think it was like maybe March.
Okay. I feel like it was longer than that, but I know it wasn't like recent, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. So I brought Ryan on tonight, and you guys know, like, usually when I have a guest on, we have a specific topic we're going to talk about. And I'm a pretty free-form guy. I don't ever really I always usually make a topic for you guys, right? And what that includes for me, usually to do like some research beforehand, but most of the time I like to do topics on things that I don't have to research, that I already know. And so what I'll do is I'll just like put on a text file on another monitor a couple bullet points, all right, about what I want to talk to people about or what I want to talk about during the stream. So boom, now you guys know, surprise, how my streams work. But I didn't do any of that tonight. In fact, I'm sure you guys knew, you probably saw that there's no description yet. That's my fault. I didn't edit the video, and yeah, I'm literally busy getting my whole new setup handled out correctly, which is, I think it's okay, but I'm sure it's going to cause a problem in like, a day or something. But I know Ryan really well. He's in the group with us, and Ryan's also a personal friend of mine. We talk a lot about all kinds of stuff, and we have been enjoying talking about a lot of the things that are currently going on with not just regards to tech, but obviously that in regards to like all the craziness is going around right now. And Ryan's a pretty smart and knowledgeable guy. But one thing, Ryan, like, I don't think you and me ever talked a whole lot about this. Do you remember? It might have been like May, and they had the hackers from the quote unquote Russian hackers from or do the attack on the Colonial Pipeline and get Bitcoin in return. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember when that happened.
So, do you know like anything about that per se? Like, I think that was suspicious, man. What do you think about that? As a security guy, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I know this is something that people have been speculating on for a while, that there will be we'll start seeing attacks on industrial control systems and things like that. There's actually a really big hacker conference they do in Las Vegas every year. Well, this past year was remote, but normally they do in Las Vegas, called DEF CON, where that's like the big hacker one. And they have like all kinds of different booths set up. And I remember one of the booths they had was all about industrial control system hacking and things like that. And so it's definitely something that's been possible for a while. And at DEF CON, you could literally go, and they had like this little Lego set train station, but they had the actual industrial control like network and things like that. And you could basically plug up to it and try to hack into it. They intentionally made it a bit vulnerable. And so, yeah, this is definitely something that can be done, I know for sure. So I am kind of surprised that we just now saw something like this on a large scale.
Yeah, I think, like our infrastructure is definitely not very good, right? Not just literal infrastructure, but also just infrastructure as far as IT with a lot of these companies. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Having technical difficulties over here again and again. Should I just throw my new machine out the window? I'm just kidding. All right, so back to the train of thought. Obviously, our technical infrastructure is like really, really shitty, dude, when it comes to like a lot of these companies. All right, and that's as someone who's, and I know you know that too, because you're in the real world and you're literally doing this for your job. But as someone who's worked in like all kinds of different industries as a developer, including the government before, the way that some of our systems were built, as far as like the tech and the code, is really, really, really bad. All right, like really bad. So I'm not surprised that happened, but the part about it that gets me is that these guys, these supercoders or whatever, right? I guess anybody that has anything to do with cryptocurrency, CRYPTO, can't even say that word now, I gotta be scared, is considered a supercoder to Elizabeth Warren and the federal government. But they used Bitcoin as like the means for the ransom, right? And like, if you are a tech literate person, the last thing that me, theoretically speaking, if I were going to be a Russian hacker and I was going to like ask for millions of dollars in ransom, me knowing what I know, the last thing that I would choose to use would be Bitcoin. So do you think that these guys, like, do you think they bought that software? Like, do you think they created it? What do you think?
Well, surprisingly enough, even when it comes to other ransomware attacks that you see nowadays, I would say like at least half of them use Bitcoin as the payment, not Monero or anything. Like a lot of them do use Monero, but you'd be surprised at how many of the ransomware attacks take Bitcoin.
And that's stupid, right?
Yeah, I don't really know how they have it set up. If maybe, I don't know, if maybe they have it sent to some wallet that, I don't know, and they have some kind of way of obfuscating after the fact. I'm not really sure what their setup exactly looks like. But I mean, yeah, it is happening a lot as far as ransomware goes, and they are getting away with it. So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
It's okay. So what happened with this, to recap for the people who don't know about it, or I guess if you didn't know, so they asked for Bitcoin to be sent to them as their ransom, right? And so these guys are in Russia, and they asked for the Bitcoin to get sent to them. It got sent to them on whatever wallet they had, and then they moved it to one wallet after that. All right. And the wallet or the address that they sent it to the second time, for whatever reason, they decided to send it to an exchange in the United States. All right. So what happened was essentially the government went in and came and knocked on the door of the exchange name that starts with a C and was like, hey, give us access to your servers right now or else, yeah. And so then they just basically got access to it, sent it back. And so what the reason why, and they made a whole big deal about this, and this was right at the beginning of all the FUD, if you remember. This is basically like right when the market was like, when it was coming down from the peak of 64K Bitcoin. And there was all kinds of like dubious stories out. They made the headline in the article. It was like government hacks Bitcoin. And then I was just like, I don't know. Something about this is just like super sus. Cause like first and foremost, and okay, so you're the expert here. Obviously you're saying that a lot of people are using Bitcoin for this ransom. So that's, that's understandable. I just think that that's something that I know that I wouldn't use because it's on, a public ledger that is immutable. So I think that part's dumb. I mean, if they actually choose that on purpose, then they're dumb, right? But then it's just kind of like the whole thing, instead of being centered on on the fact that we got hacked, it was like to me, it was like a selling point to say like, oh, like we hacked Bitcoin. What is your opinion on that? Is that a little too tinfoil hat for you or what?
I mean, it's hard to even know what's too tinfoil hat nowadays, I suppose, on one hand. But yeah, I mean, maybe I didn't follow it too closely, to be honest, but I think maybe that was part of the idea of sending that Bitcoin to an exchange, kind of like to launder it out, basically, right? Like, so all of their stolen Bitcoin, we'll send it to the exchange, sell it, and then buy back or something. I don't know if that was their plan or not, but it seems like that would be a strategy.
Yeah, I would think so too. But also me knowing what I know, and maybe these guys just like don't really know that much about like cryptocurrency. I mean, that's definitely a possibility, right? But me, I would be like, if you have like several $1 million of Bitcoin, you're not going to want to sell that on an exchange where there's a KYC AML record of it, right? You don't want to go like OTC.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I think a lot of times when we see these attacks from like nation states, like this was like Russian hackers, right? A lot of times they are pretty advanced, so I doubt they didn't know what they were doing, But
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Really.
Like, if you're a crazy Russian hacker, like, I mean, I'm sure you at least understand like the fundamentals of like how Bitcoin works. But anyway, let me get caught up with the chat because I completely ignored them since we got in here. Sam staying yes sticker. Hello, Claybuster. This reminds me, I have to update a website, an old HTML4 website. Definitely not SUPERCODER stuff. Good luck, man. Cody Mouse in the house. Sam staying yes sticker. Again, Claybuster says caught part of the test. I had a test stream because I was setting things up. Glad you sorted it. I tried to do a private test stream and it wouldn't allow me to pass people the private link. Osa Chain with the orange pill emojis in the chat. Wade Emery says stop playing with my emotions. Babe Honker reporting in from Georgia today instead of Canada. Let's go. I want to hear about SUPERCODERS. Tom Graff, SUPERCODERS assemble. Yes, my SUPERCODER friends, let us assemble and anger Mrs. Warren over there, who knows absolutely nothing about what she's talking about. Christian Soto 123. I did not have relations with that boomer coin. Please don't do anything bad to the boomer coin. Sam again with the orange pill emojis in the chat. Here's the YouTube link. I think that might be the test thing. This is going to be good. Kyle W. Drop the likes. Yes, guys, please drop the like while we're there. Sam then says it's easy to predict when you plan it. It's Klaus in the terms, and it's Klaus. It's a Klaus in the terms and conditions. I'm not 100% sure if you're talking about what we were just talking about or what. Pablo Busco says women hate him because he this is one dark secret. One dark secret. Nick Sledgian in the chat. Basically impossible to ship good software products. Yeah, sometimes, right? I mean, at least in the first iteration. Then Christian Soto says these hackers need your blockchain course. LOL. Yeah, I guess so. I think and they might have known probably not to send Bitcoin there. One more real quick that just popped in. Claybuster says DOJ had folks trace the amounts through the wallets via blockchain, and the actual hackers were paid out and concealed their trail. DOJ got a subpoena from Northern District of CA to access the wallet. Yeah. They got a subpoena. So Clay, the point is, they got a subpoena, and they were able to access the wallet because it was on a centralized exchange in the United States, right? It wasn't just like I mean, think about if you just had a paper wallet. They couldn't force anybody to give anything from a paper wallet. They just couldn't do it. But since they could go in there and they could talk to this exchange and say, hey, give us access to your servers and like basically send this Bitcoin back to us, or send this Bitcoin to this address, or else we're going to give you the $5 rent treatment. If it wasn't for that, nothing could have been done. Because let's just be honest, like if they could take people's Bitcoins, there would be a lot more Bitcoin missing. Satoshi's Bitcoin would be missing. John McAfee's Bitcoin would be missing. That's for sure. And all of his like other whatever tokens he's got. Anyway, so all right. Are you familiar? Have you seen that video with Liz Warren about the SUPERCODERS thing?
No, I didn't see that. I don't really keep up with news that often, really.
Oh man, let's pull it up for you so that let me pull it up so that you can watch it and we can actually put that on the stream. It's not a bad idea. Because dude, this lady, like, if I just do Liz Warren SUPERCODERS, this lady, dude, so it's Liz Warren, and she's trying to explain. There's actually like 3 different instances of this. She's explaining in some kind of like meeting with her, and she has like her like this other lady who's like this other lady who apparently is like they say a blockchain expert, but this lady is clearly not a blockchain expert. And Liz is propositioning this lady like, so the main thing that people say about cryptocurrency that makes it so great is that it's quote unquote decentralized. So tell me, is cryptocurrency like Bitcoin actually decentralized? And the lady like had to answer, yeah, because it's that's the truth for the most part, not for all of them, right? Which we know that, but and then she had to have a clause at the end of it saying yes, but it's kind of not because of X, Y, and Z. Because what she was saying was because like it's controlled by her whole. Sorry, Ryan. Her whole argument around it was basically that instead of shadowy bankers, that having a system like that is revolved around something like the cryptocurrency system is bad, or even worse than the quote unquote shadowy bankers, which is the system we live in now, right? There's no arguing that. Because there's shadowy SUPERCODERS, and that's just worse than shadowy bankers. But she didn't understand anything about the fact that if you have code on an open source network, it's open source and publicly available for everyone to see, right? Whereas, do you think Chase Bank's code is publicly available? Well, let's talk. What about the private Western CB? Is their code publicly available to see?
I think really it just comes down to, right, like the stuff you don't understand, people tend to look at it as magic, right? A lot of these, obviously I'm sure she doesn't know much about coding. And so from the perspective of someone that doesn't know anything about cryptocurrency or programming or anything, right, it's always going to seem like shadowy figures and magic and things like that. She knows how the banking system works to a degree, and it's old, it's comfortable for people. But a lot of these people that are in the banking system, they don't really know much about this technology, and I think that's why they tend to look at it like it's magic, and like they don't trust it because they don't understand it. Just like when you see some Chinese cryptocurrency coming out, you're like, oh, this is a scam because we don't speak their language. It's harder to understand, right?
Yeah, for sure. I just think that it's kind of like strange that it's apparent that they don't know any of this stuff, but they want to go ahead and make regulations on it regardless. That is the dumbest part that I don't get, because it's apparent, dude. It's apparent that they totally don't understand how it works or anything about it other than just their face value judgment. All right. And because of that, they're going to go ahead and try to put these really weird and almost impossible regulations on it. Doesn't really make any sense to me. But let's take a look at this video real quick.
Chairman, and thank you and the ranking member for holding this hearing. So the cryptocurrency boosters argue that crypto is the yellow brick road to a faster, cheaper, and safer financial system that works for everyone, not just for the biggest banks. There is no question that our financial system needs change, big structural change. And we should be willing to consider how these new technologies can help consumers and our economy. But as the cryptocurrency market grows, it is also our responsibility to carefully examine these claims and promises about crypto's potential. Now, one of the advantages crypto advocates claim about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is that they're, quote, decentralized. Our current system is dominated by a handful of big banks that are mostly free to jack up costs for consumers, to restrict access to financial products, and gobble up smaller competitors until the big guys become too big to fail. By contrast, advocates claim that cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology that underlies them decentralize power and control, creating the possibility of a more democratic financial system. So, Professor Walsh, that sounds pretty good to me. Has your research shown that crypto is decentralized in this way?
So it's true that in cryptocurrencies, you don't have one single central party. So I guess technically you could say, yes, it's decentralized. It's more than one. But we have to remember that there are absolutely pockets of power within these systems, particularly the core software developers and the large miners who can absolutely exploit their position of power to affect you.
I gotta stop right there. All right, so like literally the first thing she says, you can tell by her eyes too. Like you can tell when you're looking at this lady's eyes that she just feels uncomfortable having to like pitch this lie. Technically, yes, but there's pockets of power and blah 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 blah. She's saying that the miners and that supercoders are pockets of power inside of these digital networks, right? So, wrong screen, guys. Now you guys have all seen everything. You guys have seen the evil plans on the Telegram chat. So she says that there's pockets of power in there. But like the thing is, dude, like, okay, so what can a miner do more than someone just running a full node? Do they have like quadruple voting points in consensus? No, they don't. So like that's wrong. And then her other argument is essentially, and I don't want to sit there and play the whole thing because I've done it before, but her other argument is that, hey, yeah, these shadowy supercoders, they make the code. They're, everything's up to them. These open source networks have literally hundreds of thousands of people like have touched that code at one point in time. Okay, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but there's over like I think there's over it's either like 60 something thousand separate commits from different people on the Ethereum code on GitHub. So just like random people come and start coding on it and leave, and anyone that wants to code on it and contribute to it can. And let's just say inside that code there's some really nefarious things. Everything's open source and
everyone would see that anyways.
Right. So there's like their arguments. First of all, their arguments are just invalid. But second of all, it's just scary that these old people that don't know what they're talking about are trying to force strange regulations on something that they don't understand. And to me, it's obvious. It's just another one of those. It's kind of obvious things, right?
I don't even think it's to them. I don't think their problem is there's pockets of power. I think what their problem is there's pockets of power that isn't them. So they want to be able to control stuff. So that's like the whole thing. So they're going to they hate decentralization because then they lose control. So but what they're going to say is they're going to try to make the claim of, oh, well, someone needs to regulate this to protect the people, and they're going to act like they're protecting you, but really they don't really care, right? They just want to be able to be the arbiters of everything and control your all of your money like they've been doing for years with the banks. And now their next play is going to be the central bank digital currency, and that will be a way they can do that.
Yeah, rules for thee, but not for we. And I think it's a good segue because I actually wanted to start talking about the rest of this really weird stuff going on that numbers don't quite frankly add up. And I was up till like 4 a.m. last night, and I did a lot of homework on a lot of things, and I saw some things that were a little scary to me that I would prefer probably not to say on stream, but because I mean that would just be a no-no, right? But okay, so a lot of people don't even know what I call them on the stream CBs, the CENTRALBANKS. People don't even know what that is. Like, you could literally go to 90% of people on the street and just say, hey, do you know what the CB is? And they're like, huh? What is that? And I think it's, if you start to like just take a time to take a step backwards, and instead of being like emotionally riled up over this like pandemonium going on, and you can just think clearly for a moment, and you actually maybe take 2 and 2 together, you'll see that there's obviously a 4, and then they're saying that there's a 9. And it's like there's this enormous amount of gaslighting everywhere, all over anything that's actually happens to be centralized. Any kind of like centralized media outlet, any kind of centralized government party or politician, any kind of centralized news source on the internet at all. And yeah, I just think that people are starting to get like, things are getting bad, dude. We were talking about that in the webinar last night, right? Like, you can just tell the sentiment around is just not good. Like, the average person is either really afraid or they're really tired of everything that's going on. And I think that it's starting to become so apparent now, all this stuff that's going on, that like I really don't know how much longer they're going to be able to like keep up this kind of charade. What's your take on that?
Yeah, kind of like I was saying on that call the other day, I definitely agree with that. I mean, just walking around hearing your average person talk, I'm hearing a lot of conversations of people just saying how they can tell, how they can see through all the BS that is being put out there by the media and social media and all that, right? So, yeah, people are definitely noticing. And another thing that I mentioned the other day is I have like some premium YouTube services where I can track analytics and things like that. And one of the things that it shows me is just based off of my browse page on YouTube, you know, like where all your videos are, it will tell me, just looking at the videos, it will tell me the like to dislike ratio in a percentage. And so they have this tab on YouTube so that they make sure that everyone sees all of the COVID videos, right? So they have a whole row of that on your YouTube, no matter what your history is, that you will see that. And all of those videos I've noticed, and they used to have a lot higher like to dislike ratio, but nowadays the highest that I ever see is like, I don't know, maybe 17% like to dislike. All the other ones are like 5%, 7%, stuff like that. So a lot of people are pushing back against this, but of course, you got to remember that these media companies are in control of what you see, right? So they're going to highlight the people that agree with them and the people that are the edge case people, right? They're going to highlight them and they're going to make them seem like that's everyone, how everyone's thinking. So if you watch like the news and things like that, you're going to think one thing, but I don't know, as someone who doesn't really watch the news very often, I can definitely say that the sentiment that I've been gathering just from overhearing people talk, and even some of the people that I meet is, a lot of people are waking up to this. I definitely think.
Yeah, I'd have to like wholeheartedly agree. And it's, dude, some people are like still like really. Some people are very, very afraid. Like literally too afraid to leave their domicile. Like too afraid to leave their house. Like. You know it's bad. You know the gaslighting and the brain WASHING is bad when people first and foremost don't even want to go outside because they basically have been gaslit into believing that if they walk out into the sunlight they're going to get evaporated. But second of all, and I don't want to make fun of people that are afraid to get people that are unhealthy that are afraid to get sick. I mean, this isn't, you know, I'm not going to put a thin veil over everything and just throw a blanket over everybody. But if you're just an average healthy person and you think that if you're going to drive in your car on your own and then you like have to put something over your face, even if no one's else in the car, because you're afraid to breathe the filtered air from your air conditioner into your car where you're alone and haven't taken 12th grade biology before in high school and like don't even understand like the basics. That's bad, dude. Because it's starting to get. I'm like, I really don't want to have to talk about like this like in the way that I probably want to talk about it because, you know, obviously the platform that we're on. But man, it is really bad when people completely either don't know like those essential basics of just biology, math, human life in general. And maybe they also lack just basic deductive and inductive reasoning skills, which they should have gotten as a 6th grader or a 5th grader, you know, just doing basic math or figuring out if there's 2 people in front of you and someone stole your book and one of them has it in their hand and the other one doesn't have it, who stole the book? Like, or who do you most likely think is the culprit that has the book? Stuff like that. That's bad, dude. And that's like, I think there is a lot of people out there that are still like that. And I feel sorry for them because they're like living in basically just like utter mental turmoil, man. And it really upsets me that a lot of that turmoil is pushed by these people that we're talking about, by these centralized like outlets, right? That also being said, I agree with you had to say before, like, I think that more and more people are starting to see it because, you know, the whole thing, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Right. And I think people are also starting to like actually do some math on their own, like just some basic arithmetic and are like seeing some things that don't make sense. However, I wonder what is to come as far as the next few months. So I keep hearing like rumors and whispers of, hey, we're going to have like a potential cyber ATTACK, or hey, we might have a potential cyber ATTACK on a power grid. Is it possible to have somebody nuke out like all the power in the United States through a security attack? If it is, what would that look like? If not, what would that look like? Because some of the things that people are afraid of right now, I don't think are actually scary, but I think that is actually scary. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, that definitely is a pretty scary thing if it were to happen. Though I don't think that I think it's pretty unlikely that there would be like a synchronized, like all the power in the US goes down, because it is pretty spread out and it's not all in one central location. But I think it definitely is possible that certain sections, you know, lose power. Because these power grid attacks are definitely possible. And one thing that we've seen with ransomware in the last few years is that they're increasingly targeting governmental organizations and things like that because they know that it's essential services and they're going to pay them the ransom because they need to get their systems back and they need to get their systems working again. And a lot of times, some of these ransomware attacks are so advanced that they're even encrypting the backups as well. So literally the only solution is to have an entire copy of your infrastructure completely offline. And that's kind of costly and time consuming to do that. And most companies, especially governmental organizations, don't have that in place. So there's definitely the risk of power grids going down, I would say. But as far as like they all go down at once in the entire country, I would say that's pretty unlikely.
If you had to put a percent on it, what would you say out of 100?
Like 5% maybe or less.
Oh, damn. Okay. I was thinking maybe it'd be like 1, but all right. Okay. So
yeah, maybe like 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's not very high. Yeah. In the event, well, I mean, like the percentage of an attack being that, like a power grid going down being everything, I would say like 5, but the chance of it actually happening is definitely less than 1%.
Okay. All right, good. So you guys know if that happens, you have an expert here telling you there's a large percentage chance that's a little bit suspicious. Let me get caught up with the chat again. That was the link to your channel. Nick's Legend says these politicians see a difference between shadowy bankers controlled by democratic systems, aka them, versus controlled by code. Yeah, and I would also venture to say that their systems aren't very democratic, whereas like a public open network that is decentralized and runs off of has the basis of consensus required to make changes in anything is about as democratic as it could possibly be. But yes, Nick, you were very, very correct about that. And then he says a system that can't be controlled via democracy is bad, supposedly. Yeah, and these are supposed people who are for a supposed democracy, right? Like they're for like, hey, we're democratic, we're for democracy, but they happen to just like don't like this piece of technology that is about the most democratic thing in human nature, right? Very, very strange. Maybe it's potentially because they're afraid that it's going to replace them. Babe Honker says the elites fear this man for his truth to power. Pablo Busco says she probably makes so much meatloaf, then argue about blockchain in her big woo-woo chair. Who? Liz Warren. Hey, I think didn't she make a Native American cooking book? So I don't know if that's a Native American dish, Pablo. Hey, Pablo, you need to stop being such a bigot and start being more acceptable of someone's heritage, my friend. Tom Graff says Liz Warren holds B cash. Yeah, she probably does. Sam says shut it down. That is exactly what they want to do. Exposed with the Telegram chat. Yep. Foiled yet again. Pablo Busco also says, to be honest though, it's difficult to see normies without being controlled by the GOV. I can't imagine them to be sovereign. What would they do? Yeah. Good question, man. What would they do if their entire lives they had been dependent off of a son of systematic, mother and father to take care of them, both financially, mentally, physically? I guess if they get hurt, they can go to the gov and be like, hey, can you fix my broken leg because I don't have any money? And yeah, I don't know, Pablo. That's a good question, my friend. Antonio says, what is up, bros? What's up, my friend? Hope you're enjoying your safe space, Antonio, because I know this is your safe space. Pablo, look at what happened to Rome. Orgies in the church. Yeah, man. Babe Honker, who even watches news anymore? Good question. Just like Ryan said, guys, I don't watch the news. I just literally, I'm repulsed from it, and the news is repulsed by me because I am the truth, and they are not the truth. Angelo Ocasio says, what's going on, players of the HCA? Finally caught the live stream. Yeah, we're about an hour and 30 minutes behind schedule here. And yeah, sorry about that. But good to see you, man. Patricio says, grandmas. Grandmas? Does he mean you and me, or do you mean you and me, Patricio? Or do you mean Liz Warren? Babe Honker says, Canada, Australia, and the UK are the worst for the coof right now. Yeah, Australia is not looking good, man. Max Dignitas, wait until the triple X ERS start shaming the double VA double X. Oh, because you should have put an extra X in the first one. Yeah, it's like I have 3 and you don't have 3. You only have 2. You pleb. Whenever he says it's going to be great, yeah, it's going to be a great time in that Citadel, boys. Walking into Whole Foods, see cute girl with mask on. Hey, I was grabbing some carrots and your cute face caught my eye. Well, half of it stabs eyes with carrots. Yeah, it is also an ugly protection shield as well. I pray for the black swanish crypto dip. Dude, I was thinking that today. I was texting Michael Z, Ryan, today, and I was like, because I have something that's going to be finished in about 7 days time, and I would like to be able to do something with the money after this thing is finished. And I was like hoping and praying when Bitcoin was floating around 28, 29, 32K, like it was going to stay that way for a while. No. And so I was talking to Michael today, and I was like, dude, this is really shitty. Does that make me a bear now? And he's like, well, what do you define as a bear? And I was like, a bear is someone who wants number to go down, right? And I guess if I want number to go down right now, then I guess then technically I am a bear, right? And he was like, yeah, but you want it to go down temporarily so that you can have it go back up afterward.
Yeah, never mind, guys. Sell all your Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, I don't know about it. Yeah, it's got hacked by the government, and I sell it all now.
Yeah, just get rid of it, guys. In fact, me and Ryan can post an address in here that you guys can send it to. We'll give you $1 per Bitcoin if you want, because it's basically going to zero. So if we give you $1, it's more than zero, right? Osa Chain says normies want to be ruled in the absence of a leader. One will come up. Yep. Patricio says, I mean, they are the ones. They are the only ones that watch the news. Oh, okay. All right. Good. Osa Chain, Christian Soto agrees with you. Triple VAXXX. Triple X sounds like a P-star name. Yeah. Nick Sledge says, Josh, going to miss this whole dip. LOL. Bitcoin more like Ripcoin. Yeah. Nick's been making fun of me because of that. Because I didn't take his advice on doing something, taking out a Celsius loan when I didn't feel like it was necessary to do it, but I probably should have, because it would have been not a bad idea indeed. But don't need it anyway. Back to the clown show, guys. Dude, where you are still located in Texas, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Austin.
Okay, and you just recently came back from travels in Mexico?
Yeah, I was there in May. Yeah.
Were the people there? Actually, let me rephrase that. Who has more normies? And also, what city were you in? But who has more normies, us or the city that you were in Mexico?
Oh, I was in Playa del Carmen, so there was actually a guy there at the Airbnb that I stayed at, and he was completely nomadic. He was a crypto trader, actually, because I walked by and I saw he was looking at Matic charts on his laptop, and so I started chatting him up. He was like, "Oh yeah, I just travel around and I just do this for full time." And so it's hard to say kind of in a city like that because a lot of it is tourism and stuff. But as far as that area, I mean, yeah, there was less normies there than here, but I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet though that the normies there weren't like absolutely freaking out about the situation as much as people are here, right?
Yeah, I mean, some places required at the time it was more free. It felt more free than the US, even than Texas. But I heard after I left, they like had like some mask mandate again for a week or something like that, because I think they had some elections coming up, so they had their own political BS going on. But at the time that I was there, it did feel more free than the US, even being in Texas.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. All right, well, we won't beat a dead horse and complain about this whole thing. Let's actually talk about some tech stuff since I finally have you in here for the first time ever. So you just mentioned the digital nomad thing, and obviously that's a goal of like most people that do the thing that we do, or people that want to do the things that we do. As you know, I'm technically digitally nomadic, except now I have a centralized location in Miami, right? But I just happen to like really enjoy this place. I don't want to be right now going from place to place to place. You have the option and the ability to. You also have a particular situation that is kind of preventing you from doing that. However, if you really don't want to, you could just go do it. But if and when it becomes time for you to say, all right, you know what, I'm just gonna go and I don't know, just travel from country to country and just work and whatever. What would that look like to you? Like, where would you go? Would you go to just like one country, or would you just, maybe take a stake there, or would you just go hopping around a little bit from an Airbnb? Like, what would that ideal situation be like to you, since, you have the privilege to do that? Yeah,
I've put a lot of thought into this actually. So that was part of the plan. For one thing, that's why I moved into this new apartment this past weekend. I cut my rent in half. I was paying a lot before, as you know. And so, because I've been going so hard into crypto in the last year that I don't have like much cash saved up. So I want to be able to put in what I was putting in before, but also start building up my cash reserves for the next year or two, we'll say. And after that, I plan to travel around a bit. I wouldn't stay in one location. Now, it really depends. And I need to do a little bit more research and see what passport I would want to get, or what, before I even think about passport, I need to think about what, what's it called? Residency I want to get. And that might have some requirements that might keep me in one location for a certain period of time. But I would like to scope out a number of places. When I went to Mexico, I visited a bunch of friends that are actually nomads and they run their own business. And, they just happen to be in Mexico for, I don't know, like 5-6 months or something like that. But now they're over in Poland. So I really want to check out like Warsaw, Poland. I want to check out Bali. Basically, there's some pretty cool night game cities that I'd like to check out, places I could go and run night game and things like that. But ultimately, what I would like is what Nomad Capitalist guy talks about, the trifecta method. That's what I ultimately want to set up. And I would have to travel around and spend time in places first to know what those 3 or so places would be. But that's my goal, is to have like 3 different bases that I can bounce around between, preferably with some different climates, like have like your warm weather place, your colder weather place, things like that, where I could basically plan things out that as far as tax goes, that I wouldn't be a tax resident in any one country necessarily, but I could still, spend significant time there as well. So I like to apply the decentralization to like a lot of different, pretty much all aspects of life, really.
Yeah, it's becoming a theme now, right? Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid plan, dude. Mine is kind of similar, because as you know, I have a dog, and so like I guess I technically could, because you can bring a dog on a plane, but first and foremost, I want to be so permissionless that I don't require a plane. I want to just literally have a boat, as risky as that would be, because of like, you could just die. And as kind of like far-fetched and like miserable as that sounds, I mean, good old friend Mr. McAfee did it, so like it's not like it's an impossibility. But I would like to do the same thing, except I would like to have some property in a couple of different places, and wherever the cheapest countries that I can get like a good house and property that's like away from other people, so they can just leave me alone. I like to have some like bases set up there, but I like to be able to just get on a boat and just like leave if I want to, right?
Yeah, so here's what you need to do. You need to get like 3 dogs and 3 wives as well, so they can watch the dog while you're away. So every time you go into the new place, there's another dog, another wife.
That's super McAfee though, right? Didn't he? Dude, he had like several girls on his boats with him, and like also like 2 or 3 different dogs. So that's funny. Yeah. All right. I think we feel the same about that. I don't think we need to talk. I mean, you and me talked off the script too, plenty of times about that kind of stuff. So I think I know how you feel about that. You know how I feel about that. I guess the next thing we can talk about is the whole supercoder aspect. So obviously you're a security guy, but you actually you don't think you can code very well, but you can code pretty decently, dude. When was the first time you started actually doing some actual code?
Yeah, it was entirely self-taught, but I always just found it really interesting, the fact that you can do this stuff to the fullest extent without a job, without any independent of any circumstance. You could just say, "Hey, I want to build something." You can build it. There's no limitation really other than yourself. But I remember I took some introductory C++ course when I was in college, but I got through that and I didn't really, they made it so boring. Like college just has a way of taking the most interesting things and somehow making you kind of dislike it. But I remember, so not exactly coding, but I remember one problem that I had when I was in my last year of college is my laptop was running super slowly and, it was like almost unusable, so I actually installed Linux on it instead of Windows, and it ran like way better. But then that meant I had to learn Linux and use it really well and get comfortable with it. But that ended up being like a really good thing. But then as far as actually coding, I would say that probably not until after I graduated. When I got my first job, I was doing IT operations. And it was a very tedious job in a lot of ways. There were things that we would have to do, like tasks we would have to perform over and over again. And so that's when I really started diving into to Python and even Bash scripting as well. And because I just thought it was like the coolest thing that I can actually automate a lot of what I'm doing. And that was the part that like really brought me into coding, really interested me, because seeing the practical applications, because I'm a very pragmatic person. So like the way they teach it in school, where like, oh, build this, solve this math problem or this logical problem by creating code, or like create tic-tac-toe or something like that, is very boring to me. But if there is like a practical use for something and I can create that, that's when it really pulls me in. And coding is honestly one of the only activities that I really like. I can like lose track of time when I'm doing it, when I really get stuck into it. But yeah, that was like really when I started getting into it. And then I started branching out and was like, okay, let me learn about like web frameworks and let me see if I can, because then once I got over to the security side, I was like, okay, like let me see if I can create something and then attack it. So then that became another practical reason to learn code for me. And so pretty much all of it was just like self-learning.
Yeah. And again, you don't think that you're that, or you won't say that you're that good, but you're pretty good, man. And in order to like learn like how to use like Linux and like do shell scripts and stuff, you're going to have to pick up some coding knowledge to get that done, which I think that might have actually probably been like, that might have been kind of like, that being your first step. That's not really like a bad place to start, I would say. Your little brother who happens to be in developer direction, he dude, I don't know if you know how good he's doing right now. Like, cause he, obviously he's a Zoomer, right? So those fucking Zoomers, we just literally give them anything. Like we spend like an hour with hands on with them and we give them something and they just like, bah. And my whole thought process behind that is like, I guess when you and me were growing up, we had computers when we were like, I guess like I had a computer, I think when I was like 8 or 9, which is, and I don't think I could have done anything with it much, but I wasn't really starting to use computers until like 10, 11, 12. And probably about the same for you, but they had iPads, iPhones, all that stuff when they were like 4, 5, 6. So do you think that's the reason why your brother and also like all other Zoomers are really good at code, or what?
He, I guess you don't know this, but behind the scenes, he calls me a lot. We talk, and I help him a lot of times with the code and like help him work through it. But yeah, he's doing a great job. And fortunately for me, as far as the computers, like my parents had a computer when like not many people had them. I think I was like 5 or 6 when they had a computer, and I would like play computer games on it or like browse the net or whatever. But yeah, so if anyone out there is watching and they, you're in school right now, or maybe you're in high school or whatever the case may be, or maybe you are just like working a job that, you want to get rid of that job and you're thinking about going into coding, but you always found the learning process in school so boring. Like my brother, he was like the same way. Like I always thought he was really smart, but he always just hated school just so much that he didn't really put the effort in. But he was like really big into video games. And I think this is like a pretty common thing that I've noticed, like a lot of the really good coders, even the really smart people in crypto were gamers as well. So if anyone's watching that, you're really good at games, like you might want to try your hand at coding, because he was always like really good. He got so good at Fortnite that he was like, he was a pro gamer at one point. They flew him out to Seattle for a tournament. They flew him to New York City or upstate New York to beta tests like some of their changes and things like that. So he was like really, really good at that. But that was the only thing that he really was like passionate about, really dedicated himself to. And, me and my dad were like kind of worried if he would ever like find something, that he could dedicate himself to that like he did with games. And ever since he got into your course, like we've seen him like really dedicate himself to coding. And so because he's putting in all this effort, it's no surprise to me at all that he has been as successful as he has so far.
Yeah, the kid's super smart. I remember he was I did know that he used to play kind of like, I thought it was like semi-pro Fortnite or something like that. He was freaking out in one of the webinars the other night talking about like this AI bot that they have for like I think it's like an undetectable aim bot or something, and you can like has a difficulty adjusting. So like I was like, man, like that's you're freaking out about it. That's actually an opportunity for you. But yeah, he's a super smart kid, and also all the Zoomers in there, they all pick up that shit like crazy smart or really into. Pavlo in there. He's picking it up like on his like 5th day. But dude, I think we were supposed to be the generation that was good with computers, and I guess that we were, all right, when we were the first generation kind of born with them, but now we got people behind us, so that's to be expected. But let me get caught up with the chat, because man, I was gone too long and I have a lot of catching up to do now. Let's see. Let us see. Harry Zykos in the house, our favorite realtor right there. Smash the like button, guys. Please, guys, please smash the like. Antonio says, I used to live in ATX. I'm in Houston now. I thought you were still in ATX, Antonio. Did not know that. Eli says, nice. I'm hopefully moving to ATX by next month. If you're not in Texas or Florida and you're going to either one of those 2 places, Eli, congratulations, my friend. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Incorporated in Dubai, winky face, need mountainous farmland. Only women hold me back now with remote work. Interesting. About the mountainous farmland, guys. I actually ordered a guava tree Tuesday. It should be here tomorrow. I'll put it on my Instagram if you guys want to see it. We're gonna see, guys, if I can get a level 99 farming skill cape in real life. And then he said, getting a dog is one of my top 3 priorities. Dogs are pretty based, loyal friends for about a decade, and you can train them to do cool things. Ryan is based AF, says Ocha Chain. Ryan is also indeed a gentleman and scholar. And so, you know what, Ocha Chain, so are you. LMAO, so funny. Thank you very much. Silent yachts are the way. Own a dairy farm in some third world and then park your silent yacht across from the farm. Yeah, Ryan, I don't know if you know what the silent yacht is, but it's basically just like this, like, apparently in Pablo here is the yacht. He's the yacht, a resident yacht master. But apparently a silent yacht doesn't just mean that it's like silent. There are also these like giant super yachts that are just like completely silent. I don't know if that's like if that is at a loss for horsepower because of that, but with our technology these days, probably not. And by the way, about technologies these days and loss of horsepower in a silent yacht, if somebody could remember that, if you could remember that after I finish these comments, that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I was thinking about that right before we started. Honestly, having a dog will never be in my cards. Too much responsibility that goes against my goals. Harry, you know what you got to do? You get one, get a hunting dog or a sport dog, and then send it off to camp for 6 months out of the year. So you just basically pay for a nanny, and then they come back disciplined and happy and nice. And they'll actually like to go and do that. But yeah, dogs aren't for everybody. It's just, it is something that's always been in my life, and it most likely probably always will be, even if I had like 30 kids. Another thing I was telling Michael today too, we were talking about what you could, if any of us theoretically owned any cryptocurrency, and we had to take some profit in the year, what was some things you would get? And he was like, oh, like maybe I'll get like a, one of those cool Aston Martins and something like that. I was like, dude, like it would be cool to have like a giant farm with just a bunch of fucking animals on it, and to just watch them, maybe put them on live stream or something. Claybuster, Harry Zykos, I know, right? I carry my passport at all times, and I'm never more than an hour or so from the international airport. Very nice, dude. So you're kind of like, you're ready to go, right? Art says, are employers accepting of location-dependent hires, or would you have to do freelance work? All right, so good question. Ryan, you know this because we've been talking about this in the webinars lately. There are, at least in our field, I can find a boatload of jobs hiring right now. In fact, so much so that Ryan, as well as me and other people in our group, we have a mountain of emails, people soliciting us for jobs, because this field is just booming and banging, right?
Well, let's just say that when I'm interviewing, if someone tells me they plan on going to the office, I just laugh and walk away.
Yeah, I would definitely do that too. I haven't even had a single person solicit me for a non-remote job.
Yeah, it only happened once. And like the job that I'm in right now is location independent now. So other than the stipulation of I have to stay in the US, unfortunately, due to the nature of it. But yeah, I don't even necessarily have to live here, but Texas is pretty nice. So I stayed, but
yeah. Guys, art specifically, dude. I was on one of our webinars last night with our crew, and I was actually looking for a non-remote job in the field. literally couldn't find a single one. They were either every one of them said remote, or they just didn't mention it, which was like 2 of them. So yeah, take that into consideration.
As far as security, though, there are some positions that are kind of location dependent because of the nature of them. So if you do, for example, I do mostly web app pen testing, so I can do that anywhere, right? I can always, as long as I can get to the website, then that's it. But if you do, like, say, a security role where you have to do some physical testing, like sometimes,
like if you're in NOC, the NOCC somewhere or something.
Well, there's a side of security called Red Team where they basically simulate the attackers. Where more so than like a pen tester, like pen testers mostly are testing the technology for vulnerabilities, whereas the Red Team is mostly testing the process, like the people as well, for vulnerabilities. So they might actually, for example, I used to work at General Motors. The Red Team would sometimes go to the manufacturing plants and do social engineering and try to plug up to different stuff at the plant to see if there were any vulnerabilities in their like internal infrastructure and things like that. Also, if you do, like, say, I don't know, a lot of Wi-Fi pen testing, then you have to obviously be at the location to test out the Wi-Fi networks and stuff like that. So there are some location dependent jobs within security, but if you do, like, a lot of the pen testing jobs are fully remote. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunity for that.
Yeah. So short answer, Art, it's actually the opposite of your concern. You probably have a harder time finding a job that's going to make you come in this field. Christian said, man, 3D pinball is my computer experience. Pablo says, Light is going to absolutely obliterate that guava plant. Rest in peace. Rest in peace is Guavi. Yes, we're going to have to keep that guava plant somewhere very high from the spotted pointy. Alex Catanzos. Did I say that right? Alex Katsanos. Alex Katsanos. Hey, guys, new to the podcast. Welcome, Alex. You are now a gentleman and a scholar. Harry Zyko says, sailboats, question mark. Yep. I mean, technically, we do it with sailboats, right? It'd probably be a little bit cheaper, right? Hey, if we had a sailboat, we wouldn't have to get gas. I think the thing you're supposed to do, you have a gas-powered boat, but then you also have a sail as well, because in case, you can. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I might be wrong about that. Patricia says, I hate my job considering learning programming. That would be an obvious recommendation for me and Ryan, but we're going to be biased. That's a biased opinion, I guess, because that's something that we do. So, Art also says, thought about taking your course, but I'm working 2 jobs, trying to dump as much money into crypto as possible. Also a smart thing to do, my friend. Congratulations. Not sure if it's possible. I mean, I'm a pretty busy guy. Ryan's a pretty busy guy. We still don't have time to make it. I'll put it to you this way, Art. I'm probably doing the equivalent amount of effort and energy in my life as crypto. I'm working a regular job. I'm running 2 companies. I'm selling a house, which is a huge pain in the ass. And I have a dog that I have to walk about 6 times a day. On top of that, I go to the gym for an hour a day. So, and I'm the one who has to, like, run the majority of that stuff. But I can do it. I'm also Superman, but you might be Superman too. Ryan's
I would say from the longevity standpoint, right? If he's working 2 jobs and trying to put as much money as possible into crypto, then learning programming is like the perfect solution, because if you can get a programming job, you're not going to have to work 2 jobs anymore. You'd be able to get by with just the programming job, and you'd be able to put even more into crypto. Whereas if you keep doing this, then how long are you going to have to work 2 jobs? It's going to be a pretty long time, if not indefinitely, right? Until you move on to the next thing.
Yeah, you're right. Good point. You know what else too? It's like when you have a remote job that is like a knowledge-based skill job, something that's a hard skill, knowledge-based, not really paying you per hourly per se, although some of them pay hourly rates and wages, but they're not really paying for that hourly. Like you would just go, most of these places they would be marking you down as 8 hours a day anyway. You're not actually spending 8 hours a day coding, guys. You're really not. And especially when you're remote, if you guys are remote, you guys know, like you ended up, your quality of life has gotten better. And maybe when you were in the office, you did everything you were supposed to do on time and you did it early and correctly. And then maybe you had to you felt pressure to kind of like either do extra work, which you shouldn't be doing because you should be getting paid for the exact job and that's it. Or you felt like you had to pretend like you were doing work and maybe somebody might come and like hunching over your shoulder and be like, Jimmy, you're You not doing enough work there, boy? Did you bring your phone to the company? Did you bring the company phone in the bathroom with you when you went? We're gonna have to charge you 30 cents for that. Point is, you're also not driving 2 hours a day if you're working from home. So your income amount will go up. Your free time's also gonna go up. Your quality of life's gonna go up. So if you were able to get a job like that, it frees up a lot of free time so that you can do other things elsewhere. So that's also I think I was kind of like playing off of something you said, Ryan, but yeah.
In a certain sense, as me, right? I'm kind of working 2 jobs with how much time it takes for me to make these YouTube videos, and then my 9 to 5, and I still go to your courses. I get a lot of value out of it. So
yeah, you do.
And I try to give back wherever I can as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Babe Honker says, get a dog. Do it, guys. Get a dog, and don't be a bad owner. If you're gonna give a dog, just do it and be a good owner. He also says, I train mine myself to walk without a leash. Yes. Here's like this interesting input. Having a well-trained sport dog sounds fantastic. Yeah, and the thing is though, like they're fucking crazy if you don't run them. And so like they literally these dogs like this, they need jobs. And so they literally need jobs. You got to like take them to do stuff. But if you do, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can do field trials, or you put them up against other dogs, and you can come back home with trophies and be all cool and take pictures. So yeah, interesting things that you can do. Alex says hello to you, Harry. Maybe that's someone you know, Harry. Pablo says, I think I will be fine with just a bearded dragon named Vitalik. Oh my God. Please. Hey, Pablo, let's go tomorrow and let's go get that bearded dragon. I'm 100% down to do that and name it Vitalik. Harry says, Pablo Busco, my last bearded dragon was named Skrillex, LOL. He's a dragon in training. And then the black sheep in the house, more neck gains for both of you. Yeah, guys, we can try to get some more neck gains. We'll see. Lacking in the neck department, I am. That's interesting. Not sure what you're talking about. I got to teach you how to pronounce Greek last names one day. Josh, Harry, Zykos. I don't know. Oh my God, the ETH pump is so hot. Somebody in the chat, tell me what the Ethereum price is right now. Or Ryan, maybe you can let me know. Art says, you're right. Thank you, guys. You're very welcome. Art. Cody says, oh, hey, it's the guy that works with me, kinda. Who works with you, Cody? Max Dignitas, 2+ hours per day of actually coding means things are pretty busy with your team. This dude gets it right here. P ETH. Yes. Can we run the Ethereum price spot in here?
It's barely under 3K still.
Nice. Solid. All right, we can talk about crypto too if you want, and then we can. You got like 20, 30 minutes left or what?
Yeah, I'm good. Oh yeah, by the way, I found out Cody Mouse and I work at the same place, so that's what he was referring to.
What? Really? No
so
way.
So does what's his name? Other dude, can't remember.
Is there a conspiracy going on right now? Everyone in developer direction now works together.
Yeah,
let's talk about crypto.
Michael Z. I don't want to dox him, but. Yeah, you met him in Miami. Yeah.
He oh man, I was gonna say something about him earlier, but I already forgot. I think it was kind of important, but I guess if it was that important, I would have remembered. But anyway, so about crypto, what digital assets are you currently interested in? Why are you interested in? Let's just give me like maybe get like 3.
Yeah. I am pretty interested in just accumulating more Kusama at the moment. That's one of them because with the parachain auctions going right now, I've been trading the Kusama to dot ratio quite a bit. I've made a decent amount off of timing those. So, that's been pretty good. Let's see what else. Hang on.
Question about DOT. What do you think? As far as the parachain thing, it goes. I think that's like a super important thing. Do you think that DOT is going to do a good job, or what?
On the come like the end of the year, or come what?
They don't really have any. Okay, so from my understanding of DOT,
you're saying in general.
Yeah.
I'm really bullish on DOT and Kusama actually. So right now, that's what I'm accumulating is literally just those at the moment. Okay.
How do you feel about the, I guess the number one developer, digital asset Ethereum?
Well, the nice thing about dot is, I mean, yeah, it can be a competitor to Ethereum, like Cardano can, but what it can also do is coexist with Ethereum very well because of the parachains and the interoperability aspect of it. So it's not necessarily that, oh, it has to kill off Ethereum for it to be valuable. It could actually coexist and just facilitate the interoperability of Ethereum and all the other blockchains as well. So I think that's one of the things I really like about it. I also really like the people behind the project. And when I did attend the Polkadot Decoded webinars earlier this year, and yeah, there's definitely a lot going on of like active development happening in that space.
So the thing is too, like I don't think there is a way to do a parachain to really do a parachain blockchain without smart contracts. Like they certainly couldn't do it with just like basic blockchain code, right? So I think that them having smart contracts isn't like a bad, yeah, just like you said, it's not like a bad thing. I think it's something they're going to coexist together. But as far as I know right now, what they're only doing is they're only sending currently like data back and forth from some blockchain to some blockchains. Like you can't just go and here he is. You can't just go and send Bitcoin for ETH on Polkadot right now, right? So like what I'm waiting for, which I think is actually important, is to have that exchange from these pair of swaps, so you don't even have to like worry about anything. And the only thing we had so far since then, and we could also probably talk about this if you wanted to, because it's securely related, the Rune Thorn, the Rune chain hacking. That was all we had before to kind of like sketchily swap one digital asset from a completely separate blockchain through another one. And which, by the way, did you ever read that article about what happened with that?
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it on one of your webinars.
I think it's funny that the guy that hacked it, like, basically, dude, he just like owned them with his comments to them. He was like, "Yeah, like I could have taken more. You guys are retarded. Don't do that again." Is that a white hat hacker that does that? Do you think he did that to get money, or do you think he did that because he wanted to?
That's probably what you call like a gray hat hacker. It's kind of in the gray area, you know.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I did some good for humanity. This could have gone on for like 6 more months in a year, and then someone could have like taken billions of dollars from these people. So I saved someone. I might have saved someone billions of dollars. So I'm just going to take a couple million for myself, just because But make karma, make things even, right? That's interesting. How do you feel about the Boomer coin? How do you feel about this guy right here in the top right corner?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I love it. But I think my strategy personally right now is to accumulate more Bitcoin. I'm not really buying Bitcoin. I'm buying other coins because I see the potential that they have for the gains, and it's going to be a low risk if you buy into ones that are have a good backing, have a good good tokenomics, all that stuff, right? You do your research, then you could definitely later on trade that into Bitcoin at the end of the bull run, and then you could end up with more Bitcoin than if you would have just only been accumulating straight into Bitcoin. So that's kind of the strategy that I have for this bull run. Yeah, it's a pretty smart idea, right? Because a lot of these alts tend to run up like maybe 10x on Bitcoin when Bitcoin is at the top. Like they'll still run up 10x and keep in mind when Bitcoin goes up, it kind of like it's like you're in a boat and someone or you're in a bathtub and then someone else comes in, the water just like goes up. All the other things go up as well. Miguel used that analogy last night in his streams. I was like, that's the best way to explain it ever, because it's true. But even at the end, some of the alts will run up 10 times. So it's like if you can use the gains from that to get even more Bitcoin afterwards. Very, very smart and tactical thing to do that I think a lot of people do. I think that's like probably like the smartest play that somebody can do. Me, however, I mean, I'm still buying alts, every now and then. I'm only holding 6 coins right now, 6 different digital assets. Yeah, me as well.
It's just too much. Like it became too much work to like go back and forth. But I am still buying Bitcoin literally every single day. Literally every single day, a minimum of a $25 buy. And that might not be the most advantageous advantageous plan to get as much Bitcoin in the end. But here's why, Ryan. And I know, I'm also super tinfoil hatty guy, so take this for what it's worth. But I suspect that there is going to be a basically huge supply shock of Bitcoin on exchanges and everywhere. Like everyone's going to just everyone's going to be wanting it. No one's going to have it to get to sell because they're like, oh my God, NGU number go up, right? Like I can't give this up but tomorrow it'll be doubled. And I'm fearful that it'll get to a point that I will never be able to get some Bitcoin again unless it's for like an extremely outrageous price of something to me I would consider to be outrageous to pay for a Bitcoin. Now, the reason why I think that doesn't have anything to do with tokenomics, or it doesn't have anything to do with number go up technology. It doesn't have anything to do with exchanges like lying about how much Boomer coin they have on their balance sheets or whatever. All right. The reason why I think that is, so let me preface this by saying that, like, if someone thinks about cryptocurrency, what's the first thing they think about? Like Bitcoin, right? That's the first. Even my grandma knows what Bitcoin is, and she's like essentially senile. And it's been around the longest, right? So when they think about crypto, they think about Bitcoin, right? So it's got the brand name, right? But I believe that the financial system right now is going to get absolutely insane in these next 6 to 18 months, that I think people are going to literally exit the financial system, even if they're the last ones to exit. Let's just say Bitcoin is $100 quadrillion. I'm just making up a random number, right? That's what it gets to. I think that people are going to be so afraid to stay in the current financial system because of what I think is going to happen in the next 6 to 18 months, that they're just, even those people are like, fuck it. It's not even like, if I can just keep what I have even, instead of it losing 20% of value every day, whenever it starts to happen at that point, if it's like 20% a day, they're like, fuck, if I just exit and go to this other place over here that's nice and warm and free, and the air is really nice and it smells good, it doesn't smell like dirty, stinky poo holes, I'll at least stay even. So that's fine. I don't mind. But yeah, that's why I think that's going to happen. Do you think that's a possibility? You think that something could happen in the next like 2 years or so, or what?
Quite possibly. Right now, it is the most liquid asset probably out of all the cryptocurrency. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with securing your spot in the Citadel, most definitely. So yeah, I wouldn't fault you for that. Yeah, definitely.
But alas, I also buy alts too. So, take that for what it's worth. Pablo Busso says Michael Z is too alpha. Indeed, he is. He needs some beta. He's a good man, Pablo. LOL. He is. Mike is a good dude. We go back to like 2014. Oh, wow. No way. Damn. You're lucky, Cody, because Mike actually is a really, really solid dude. Excuse me, sir. Pay attention to me. Just show us all your MetaMask. All right. Sure. You want to see my MetaMask? Sure. I don't even know what this is. Up. Not even logged in, guys. Not even logged in. This is a brand new machine, guys. Max, my MetaMask balance right now is approximately $2, but the guys in the webinar saw it last night. So you guys saw a slightly different balance last night, but it wasn't anything outrageous. I have several MetaMasks, Max. I think, honestly, you know what, too, Ryan? Like, how many MetaMasks have you just like religiously just like burned a MetaMask address and just been like, all right, it's time to get a new one, or what?
I have a few of them that I use, but I don't really overthink it too much. I don't really hold a lot on there, really.
Yeah, I don't think it's the best place to keep stuff. But it's also not the worst. Dude, I just like can't be bothered to like keep these seed phrases written down for all these separate things. It's like,
Well, I kind of thought through this before. If you ever lose your seed phrase, all you need to do really is just transfer all the crypto off of that to something that you know the seed phrase to, because you're only screwed if you lose access to that wallet and you don't know your seed phrase. So even if you forget it, you could still send it off to something you do know the phrase to. Yeah,
good point. That is what you would want to do. Osa Chain, Moon Gang, Strat Rocket, Cody Moose in the Hoos. That's a good look on the current economic situation. Yep. yeah, I'm not joking about that. I really do think that it's going to get like the current economic situation for 85% of the United States. I think there's going to be pockets of prosperity, if you will, in certain areas, places that have people that run those areas a little bit differently than majority of other places, if you know what I mean, Cody. I think you know what I mean, Cody, because I believe you're in one of those places. But I think it's getting pretty bad, dude. And again, you got to think about that, Cody. Like, so here's this analogy I like to use. And I got the analogy from Michael Saylor. So he's a pretty smart guy. If that means anything to you guys, imagine you guys are on a giant cruise ship, right? Imagine you're on a giant cruise ship and there's, a bunch of people on the cruise ship and, you're just casually strolling around the cruise ship. You're having a good time. You're there for vacation. All right. You're trying to have a pleasurable life in your vacation. All right. And, you go through a stroll down some of the bottom decks and you see that there is a leak in the bottom deck. All right. And there's water coming in that leak. Now you don't really know off the top of your head whether it's considered to be a fast leak or a slow leak, but you definitely know that it's a leak. All right. You know that it's a leak. So you start to become worried, but there's no current reason to panic because it's like, it's a huge ship, right? There's a couple of drops of water so far, or a couple of feet of water. Maybe it's like 2 inches of water at this time. All right. It's not anything crazy. Like maybe they just let it come out the back. Maybe they let it come out the back end some way. Like I'm sure these people that own this boat, I'm sure that they're smart enough to take care of the thing that they created, right? Certainly they wouldn't want it to drown us on purpose. And so you go back upstairs, but you still think to yourself, maybe there's a lifeboats over there. Those lifeboats. Okay, so I know those lifeboats are there. All right. So in case anything happens, I know those lifeboats are there. I'll be okay. But to just be super sure, I should just go tell somebody about this. So you go and knock on your neighbor's door. Hey, there's a leak in the bottom deck of the boat, guys. Like, should we be concerned? Like, what are you talking about? Leave us alone. We're drinking and we're trying to have, sexual relationships with our wives right now. Like, leave us alone, whatever. Right. Trying to pound out my wife, Paul, leave me alone. And you're just drinking a Mai Tai over there, Cletus over there, or whatever their name is. And so then you go to the next door, you do the same thing. They're like, nah, hey dude, we're just trying to have fun. Like, we're shooting up lines of heroin in here. Go away, George. And, you try that again. Then you go to the captain's ship and you tell him, and he's like, whoa. You didn't see, you saw that? Don't tell anybody this. All right. Don't tell anybody that. It's going to look, just trust me. We're going to get it taken care of. It's going to be okay. So you calm down a little bit and you walk back down to the bottom of the basement. All right. And then you're in the bottom of the basement, or the bottom deck of the boat. And this time you see that the hole has gotten even bigger. I guess maybe some of the pressure from the water bored it out a little bit more. And now there's like 1.5 feet of water as opposed to 2 inches of water. Right. Now you're starting to get worried. All right. Now you're starting to get worried, but it seems like the boat's still floating. Like, we're not going underneath yet. Right. So you go, by this point, you're like, all right, I'm going to go try one more time. Like, let's just try to get it taken care of. You do the same thing. You make your rounds. Everyone's like, leave me the fuck alone. We're on a cruise ship having fun. Leave us alone. So you go back again, and now there's like 5 feet of water. And you're like, all right, fuck this. I'm getting off the boat. You get off the boat. All right. You get off the boat and you get on the lifeboat and you sail off. So you're good. All right. The point of that story is, Cody, people that are having a certain kind of life that is maybe not conventionally traumatic or problematic. They just want to live, they want to ignore a lot of the problems going on. And it's easy to be obsessed about the lifeboat when the boat's sinking. But if other people don't know the boat's sinking, they're not even thinking about the lifeboat. In fact, if you go tell them that the boat is sinking, they're going to tell you to go away. All right. But when the boat is completely submerged in water, half of them have maybe drowned already. And there's maybe only 100 feet of the boat. Like, the boat's now upwards, right? And there's only 100 feet of it in the air. Everyone's crowded on top of the tip of the boat. Now they're all fighting for the lifeboats. So that's when they become the most concerned about it. And at this point, they don't even care what color lifeboat it is. if it's got 4 seats and there's 20 people, they're all going to try to sit on each other's lap. All right. That was what I meant by that. So I don't, I hope that reconciled. I know it was a long story. I hope I didn't put you to sleep either, Ryan. The Black Sheep says, what brand wallet is best for crypto hodling? What do you think? What do you think, Ryan?
I think Trezor, because anytime you can get like that external hardware wallet it's a little bit better than a mobile wallet. I use mobile wallets. Mobile wallets are solid. And for certain coins, I hold stuff on there. But I mean, obviously, anytime you can get an isolated device dedicated to that, it's going to be a little bit better. So I would say Trezor. The other option is the Ledger, though the Ledger has historically had some critical vulnerabilities, allowing attackers to get a hold of your crypto by hacking into it. They have patched those, but I mean, just the fact that it's had those before, I would personally rather use Trezor. So yeah, that's what I would say.
I would agree. Art says, RH, I'm assuming you mean Richard Hart, still swears that by the prediction, Bitcoin 85% drop, not to mention his 10K bottom call. Yeah, I own Hex, or I did own Hex. I don't really own much Hex now. So I'm not a Hex minimalist, Art, but I have a hypothesis about why Richard Hart is saying those things. I don't think that they're true. In order to think that Bitcoin's going to go to $10,000 like in the next like couple of months, you'd have to basically do the same thing that people who are afraid to go outside their house right now, and they would have to literally ignore all the math is what they would have to do. And obviously, also crypto is not, a lot of it's like a psychological market, so it's within the realm of possibility, but. If I were going to bet my right and left nut on it going to 10K or it going to 100K, I would. I don't think it's going to 100K like tomorrow, but I would bet my right and left nut more so that would happen than it would go to 10K if that means anything. But we'll see, right? Max Ignita says is it alt season or it's Wabbit season. Pablo says forgive. Hold on, let me read this to you correctly in the right voice, Ryan, because I know Pablo wants this to be portrayed properly. So. Forgive me, Ryan, but can I please shake hands with your old computer keyboard? I think Pablo has a crush on you, man. Coney Mouse says, I still think the bear market will have a pretty decent low. Now that TradFi is interested, they might be looking to shake out the weak hands or just look for a better buying opportunity. I think that's what they did, though, like over and over. I mean, they do that over and over again. I think that's what they did, though, right? How long was, dude, when Bitcoin was like 29, 28, $32,000. Honestly, it was like we all knew that was like that's too good to be true to like stay like that, right? And every time these giant dumps come, it's always around the same time that there's like things going on in the media and the outside world that just basically says orange coin bad, right? So, I mean, we all know the ring around by now, especially most of you guys. Y'all have been into this scene for a long time. You guys all know the ring around, right? Matt W in the house. Yo. Cody also says it might be a good quick low, but that's fine with me. Hey, look, I want it to go to negative $10,000 so that Satoshi's going to owe me money, I guess. I don't know. That'd be great. But all right, we can, Ryan, would you like to end soon? Because we keep getting more comments, and I want to answer them all, and then I want to be able to end on a good note. Do you have? How about this, Ryan? Tell everybody where before we finish the rest of the comments. Tell everybody where they can find you at. Yeah, sure. I wanted to ask you something really quick though. What is your take on the flippening? You think that's going to happen this year? Dude. So like, what I think that it's a possibility. Like what would the numbers have to be like for that to work out, right? That would have to be like, I don't know. Let's just say Bitcoin goes back to its top. It goes back to what it was recently, 64K, which I believe is an inevitability. It's going to go back to 64K a lot sooner than later. And then what was Ethereum at that time? It was like it teetered from between like mid 2000s to like it went all the way up to 4,300. And I think when it was at its highest, what was the total market cap? Was it like 300 million or 600 million? So it would actually I'll find that right now. So let's go to CoinMarketCap. Let's look at the it's currently 342 million. So it must have been around the billion. It must have been around the 600 billion range. And that was when Bitcoin was like 1.1 trillion total, right? So what numbers would have had to happen like around that? It would need to have been like $6,000, right? When Bitcoin was around that same price. I mean, if we have EIP 1559 just go on. So like, I don't know what the exact number is. I've been told it like 10 times, but X amount of literally Ethereum, dollars in Ethereum and whole Ethereum tokens are just getting like incinerated every minute. So the supply goes down. Also, gas fees are cheaper. So more people are most likely going to be using the network too, which could be, I mean, it could be good or bad. I don't know. It's most likely going to be good, right? And let's just say the supply goes down, that gives it that extra ability to like go, I don't know, to like $8,000 when Bitcoin is like low $60,000. Look, if it happened, I don't know if it's going to happen. I really don't, to make it simple. But if it happened, I would like literally not gasp any air at all.
Do you think it would have like any kind of effect on like the psychology of the market?
I don't know, dude. Like, as someone who is, I guess, dude, honestly, I would consider myself a Bitcoin maxi, even though I'm like the worst Bitcoin maxi either. I'm a Bitcoin maxi, but I'm also like not retarded and don't think that there's nothing else that's possible to be inventive and good in technology. But as far as the store of value goes, I think that Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and I think that Ethereum is obviously trying to be a store of value.
It's definitely different use cases, I would say, right? Because I mean, even if you look at the tokenomics of Ethereum, it's like unlimited supply versus Bitcoin is fixed supply. So yeah, fundamentally, they're so much different, really. So I think like it would probably have like a bit of a psychological effect. Like people would be like, oh, like damn, like it actually passed it in market cap. But I think long term, I think like it will maintain its use case.
Right. And dude, like, again, we were talking earlier about the boat thing. Like so many people are getting into crypto that don't even really know anything about it. So like people don't know that Bitcoin is a store of value, and people don't understand like, hey, somebody made this. And in the first Genesis block, there's a quote to the Times article from 2009 about the banks being bailed out, and it has a limited supply of 21 million. And it's essentially has all these properties that make it to be this like to essentially be a currency. It has currency capabilities, but it's a store of value that is like an exit, a decentralized, non-biased, unconfiscatable, unstoppable black hole against these, CBs. And then they don't know that Ethereum's like used to run and power smart contracts and literally deploy code, right? They just know this name. All right. So yeah, if there was a flipping, I wouldn't be surprised about it. Like I literally wouldn't even bat an eye. But Bitcoin's going to be Bitcoin forever, and Ethereum will never be Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will never be Ethereum too. You can't put smart contracts on layer 1. They can do it on a layer 2, but it's not really going to be Bitcoin, right?
Cool. So, yeah, to answer your question earlier, yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Elevate Cyber, as it says here, and that's pretty much all that I am actively on just yet.
Yeah, guys, check out his YouTube because he has a bunch of really good videos. I'll finish up these comments, guys. So if you have a comment now or a question, get it in because I need to go meet Afi Kingdom tonight and have some alcoholic beverages. So please allow me to go do that. But get your comments now. Do it now before it's too late. Art says, had an idea of writing my C phrases and taking multiple pics under an old school Polaroid camera. Stashing the pics in a safe location. Hey, dude, that's actually not a bad idea, bro. That's a great idea. New Horizon says, what languages does ELP suggest learn? All of them. That is like, honestly, oh man, this would take a while. I'm going to try to brief in this for you, New Horizons, as much as I possibly can. But when you start to learn programming, you're going to find out that all languages are fundamentally the same, right? When you learn one, you learn a second one a lot easier. Then you learn a third one even easier to that. And then after you're like a couple of them, you're like, hey, wait a second, this is kind of all the same. And so then you have the confidence in yourself and the ability to say, hey, here's a new language. Someone has a project they want me to do for whatever in a new language that I don't know. You don't even bat an eye at it because it's just like your ability to problem solve and troubleshoot has gotten so good because it's just secondhand nature, right? It's like changing the oil in a car, New Horizons, changing the oil in a Honda Civic, and then changing oil in a Ford Mustang. Like the oil pan is underneath, for the most part, the oil pan is underneath the engine bay of both of these cars, the majority of cars, right? There's a bolt for the oil pan, so you need to unscrew the bolt, have the oil leak out of the oil pan, right? And then there's usually a filter on the engine top, and also, where you pour the oil in. Maybe some of them have different screws and this and that, but it's kind of the same. So it doesn't really matter which ones you learn for whatever reason. But what language is good to start with? JavaScript's good to start with. You're going to need to pair it up with CSS and HTML. So I hope that helps. Then he says, this sounds like a worry about yourself type of analogy. I think he's talking about the boats. Yeah, kind of was. Christian, don't bore me. I like the analogy. LOL, 10K Bitcoin bottomers are in for disappointment. Lord Gonzo's laughing at that. Isn't the flipping depending on the market cap, not the price per coin? Yep. Yeah. And again, I mean, like I literally wouldn't even bat an eye. Like it wouldn't be anything like as momentous as it was when like Ethereum was what, $200-$300. Like if the flipping happened at that time, it would have been like a different story, right? Guys, this is Ryan's Instagram link, and here is his YouTube channel. We are going to update this video in the description below. If you guys want to link up with Ryan, go ahead and follow him too. Thanks for the advice. I have to get back to making other people money. Everyone have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, Black Sheep. Don't worry. If you learn, you can get away from being a wagey. Great stream, guys. Thank you. Nice, bro. I saw Afi Miami on IG. Yes, he is here. I'm not new to programming. Smiles. Okay. Just haven't settled on what one to dedicate myself to. Just pick like basic web development because it's easy to start with, man. It's easy to start with. Eli, would you pick Mac OS or Windows for programming? For programming, I would pick Mac or Linux. I would not pick Windows for programming. All right. Matt W, I'm going to get back into programming, man. I've been sidetracked, but so many side projects. Yeah. I know you are a busy guy, Matt Chain. Question for Ryan. If you were to do it again, would you go straight into programming or would you stick with IT?
I would probably have stuck with IT because, I mean, if I knew about something like what you offer, I would definitely do that. Save myself a lot of college debt, but, I hated computer science. Like I saw the courses they made them take. It's just like not what I wanted to do at all. So going the college route, yeah, I would definitely say IT, but if I knew about like something that you had, like what you offer, then I would say programming.
Yeah, computer science. The computer science department is not only not fun to study, but they also have some very not fun people to be by. But also, like you benefit from both skills too. Like Ryan's skill set, me as a developer, I can benefit from learning his stuff. So I talk to Ryan about that stuff a lot. Ryan, as a security guy, can benefit by having knowledge in code because sometimes he's got to deal with it. So like that's why we are a good match. Matt W. By Linux, New Horizons. Yeah. Mac is basically a Linux-based system. Ashley Schaefer, BMW, loving the stream. Oh my God, we have Ashley Schaefer, BMW in the house. I feel, man, I am fucking honored to have Ashley Schaefer, BMW in the house. New Horizons, I've messed with web dev since 2002. Okay. Thanks for lurking more on your content coming up. Yeah, man. Glad to have you. All right, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Sorry for being late, guys. And, a little bit different stream to have Ryan come on and not have any like super rigidly defined topics. So if you guys like that, comment below, let me know. And if you guys have an actual idea for something that I can do on my Monday night stream, put a comment in the video comment description box below, however you say it. And just make sure that it's not like, don't give me like, I only picked Pablo's comment last time, guys, because it was fun. It was funny to me, but don't give me like a idea like, can we talk about the sea turtles? We got one more question. It's an actual question, so we'll answer this real quick too. Did IT for a while, then did admin now want to start programming too? Oh, sorry, I thought that was a question. Should I do IT for a while? And okay, never mind. Whew. All right, Ryan. Thank you for coming on the stream, my friend. And guys, hope you guys have a good night. We're out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Later, fellas.
Pump it again.
No.
Endgame.
What the bloody hell is going on? The shakeout wasn't finished yet. Why haven't we crashed it?
Keep up, Jacob. This is all within expected ranges.
No. Recommence the dumps. Continue the black swans. Accelerate it. Bounce the dead cat. Pull the rugs. Build back even better. Activate the cyber pandemic. I'm in charge here. But the shadows.
It is not yours to take, Bok. The truth will set us free. It must.